Good morning, Floss Tube. Pam, stitching between the lines. Today, April 20th, not April 200th, even though it might feel like that. April 20th, 2020, a Monday morning. The house tour continues. Um, Video 76. I knew there was one more thing. Didn't take notes. Thought maybe I'd remember everything. Anyway, in the kitchen. In the kitchen this time at the same breakfast bar we were at last time, only facing the opposite direction. We are going back before this video is over and finishing the video on the other side because it's actually a sunny day, so you can really see what it looks like out that window when it's not snowing. It is, however, 34 degrees, and I believe rain and snow is predicted for later. Whatever, it's, April. We had what felt like a sort of mild winter, I think, where and I say we because like we affiliate ourselves with the nearest city, like big city that we live outside of, and it's known for snow. It's will for sure in New York State be have received the highest amount of snow for the winter. They keep speculating whether we'll be the highest in the nation. I don't feel like that we've had that much, but it's those little bits add up. So anyway, we could have some more snow. But it looks lovely all the same out there. So anyway, we're in the kitchen. Any of my Instagram followers may know why we're in the kitchen today, other than, continuing the tour of the house, whatever. I'm not going to do like a formal house tour or anything. I don't know, that's not my style, but I know the house has kind of got some unique things about it, and it's kind of neat, whatever. Anyway, here we are. So we're in the kitchen because if you saw on Instagram, Murphy surprised us. Murphy's a funny cat. We adopted these two boys, allegedly brothers, about 7 or 8 years ago from our local shelter, and they'd been abandoned, so they have lots of abandonment issues. They got some issues. Murphy, one of his issues is food. So Murphy's a big boy. The other one is a nervous wreck most of the time, so he's really skinny. He's a little 8 pounds at best, probably 7 something. But he's real. He's the one who went out when the first 2 videos ago when I was up in the loft. Again, we're directly underneath the loft. I talked about how he went out way out on the stairway railing, not up on the railing, but the ledge that the railing is mounted on, and was trying to climb up onto one of the beams when I caught him. And when he turned around, instead of coming back along the ledge, he jumped to the floor, which was a full story below. Anyway, so we saw potential problems immediately with the beams, and we thought we had taken care of them. So anyway, telling ya, Murphy's funny. He's not like your typical curious cat. He's happy to just sleep somewhere or call out to find you. He's been doing a lot of calling out to find us, like as if we're not in the house somewhere, like who's leaving the house. My husband obviously goes to work sometimes, but he works home sometimes. Friday was a work at home day, and it was in late afternoon, and Murphy had been doing a lot of hollering and calling, and my husband wasn't in the basement anymore, which we kind of thought maybe he was trying to figure out where he went. So at some point, I don't know. I don't know. He wasn't in the family room with us, and my husband went in the kitchen, and I heard my husband talking to Murphy, and I thought maybe he was trying to lure Murphy downstairs with him. And then he came back with his phone, and he said, I don't know if I should show you this picture. I'll put it here. Yeah. Murphy, okay, so beam, see the beam? The beam, if you keep going this way, comes out of the loft. But the loft railing is above it. So I'll put picture 2 right here. Where you can see I have used quilts to block that easily visible access to this beam. There's two quilts, and there's on either side of a railing post, and then on the inside side on the when you're in the loft, there's another quilt that's kind of hanging off of the beam. So he had to weave his way between quilts, squeeze his fat butt, and he's not a skinny boy. He's 17 pounds easily through those rails, and he was all the way down here, as you saw in the picture. He's never given any indication whatsoever. He loves the loft. Never once any indication that he was curious about what was behind those quilts or how do I get anywhere. The other cat, yes. So, you know, you'd think it's possible. Like Cooper, one of our very first days here when I caught him up on the refrigerator. And I couldn't determine whether he jumped from the counter up or come from the beam down the loft or anything, because the loft starts just past this cupboard, this big, it's a pantry cupboard in the loft, so they really could just step right down. But he never showed any indication that he knew anything about that access point. Murphy turned himself around and went all the way back along the beam, and my husband said he went up to the loft to try to make sure he could get himself through, but he just came right through like he knew just what he was doing. Like, I don't know. Merv, he's over there sleeping in the rocker. Probably hears his name. He's taking a bath. It's just funny. It's funny when you have a cat that's not like the least bit curious and all of a sudden they just like shock you beyond. So anyway, that's the Murphy story of the week. I don't know. I don't even know. It's just funny. I'd expect the other one to do it. I'd expect the other one to do all the things. Not Murphy. Anyway, I'm going to pause us. I'm going to turn this around. I've got some projects over there and whatnot, and we'll discuss the view over there. See you in a minute. We're back. Before we talk about what we really came over on this side of the house to talk about, I noticed I have lots of new followers, which I very appreciate and welcome, and I'm happy. I'm just thrilled because I know we're all kind of stuck home having our coronacation. And so it's fun to know that there's people out there that checked out my video and thought maybe they'd like to stay. So let me, after the cat story you just watched, just introduce myself a little better. I'm Pam. I'm stitching between the lines. It's funny, I think I say things a lot of times and then people ask questions. I'm like, oh, I thought that was, I'm retired from the court system. I'm an accountant, and it's all been very interesting, very interesting career type stuff. Anyway, I raised 3 kids. They're all successful adults out in the world doing their thing, living on their own, and enjoying what they chose to do in college and all that. So that actually makes me happy to know that they've all. I'm trying to move out of the glare. Is it as glary as? I'm sorry. Maybe we won't be on this side of the room long. Maybe we'll be redoing this. I don't know. My husband owns a contracting business that it's an engineering, mechanical engineering business, and he does that. I do this, and it's all good. My 2 girls live somewhat local, and my son lives down in DC. So anyway, there they are. No grandkids. Nobody's married. So anyway, we just moved to this new house on the lake in the Finger Lakes in New York. We only moved about half an hour from our other house, which is a big house we built. Raised the kids in mostly. The youngest was in 3rd grade when we moved there, and my husband's dream. I say I'm following my husband's dream, which is to live on the lake. So we've had a little seasonal cottage on the lake, but now we're here all year long. It's not a good time to be making a move. It's kind of a tough time. So anyway, I in my last video sat here and we talked about the lake, but it was snowing. I mean, that's the reason we were there, to see the weather and hear the wind blow. So there it is, out the view out my kitchen window to the lake. Can you see down? I mean, that's lake all the way down. The house is built kind of on the top of a little hill, and so the yard slopes down. So when we're up here, we see pretty much just water. We don't see any yard. The basement, which is underneath, the sliding doors open straight out into the yard. So it's kind of cool. It's definitely a cool. I will put some pictures here. I have a few pictures to put. All right, sorry. Taking away your view. Here, I'll put several of them. I stood out on the deck this morning and took some pictures. I'm gonna switch you. I'm gonna twist you a little bit. Sorry. We're gonna work off that glare, maybe, or not. This could be the only sunny day we're ever in this room. I went out on the patio deck, whatever, this morning and took some pictures out into the yard down to the lake. If you're not familiar with life on a lake, most homes have a dock, and we have a dock. It has quite a few sections of dock out, and we have a boat that stays out there. And in the off season, docks are pulled up onto the beach in segments. In their, I don't even know how many feet, 10 feet segments. I don't even know. And they line the beach in a very unattractive fashion. So that's those are still there. When New York State went in shutdown, it closed marinas, and our dock installers can't work. Marinas just opened again this weekend, and I believe the dock installers are allowed to go back to work. Our dock installers told us we were scheduled for the 4th week of whenever they could get back to work. So if they're coming back to work this week, we still have another month. But it's too cold to be out on the lake. I mean, we can have snow into the first week or so of May, first, second week of May. So nobody's really going out on the lake. It's just when you look at this all winter long and watch the snow and see the ice and the whatever and look at your dock up on your beach, you dream of your boat being out there in the sunshine on the water, even if you're not actually taking the boat out. So anyway, there'll be more pictures in time to come. So I've been showing of late all kinds of things. Mania's coming up, and I thought I had a plan. I thought I had a good plan. I was going to do what I did last year, where I pulled out all my whips, and which there were maybe 10 of, or 9. There was some confusion in my whips. I forgot to add one to the list, and I thought there were 9, and there ended up being 10, but then I had picked out 10 starts. So anyway, whatever. Who cares? I worked on something every day. Well, for those 19 or 20 days, either a whip or a new start. May was very busy last year. May is not going to be busy this year. So I was thinking maybe so I was messing around in my new sewing space, and I have a box and maybe a basket and maybe in a cart, some things that are in project bags that were going to be my potential mania, mix them with my whips plus new starts to total 20 for 2020. And so I started pulling them out, and I started counting them, and I quit at 20 because that's more than I was going to have slots for. I don't know how many I ended up having, because then I just kept throwing project bags in there, checking to see, that they were a new start and not an old whip I forgot about. Then I thought, well, I'm going to do 31, maybe just new starts, and just leave the whips as whips. And this year is kind of chaotic. I've never had that many whips. I don't know if it would make me crazy. I think it would make me crazy. Who knows? Maybe I'll enjoy it. I don't know. What's the difference between having put 10 stitches in it or it being in a project bag waiting for somebody to start? I don't know. I have to look behind me. Oh, that's Murphy. Sometimes, let me see if we can see. Murphy's in that rocking chair taking a bath. See him? Oh, so, sorry. Jiggle, jiggle. Glare, glare. I'll rewatch this. We may be reshooting this. So anyway, I don't know what I'm doing. This morning, see, I changed my mind. Like, ooh, okay, I'm scooting this way, and the glare goes away. This morning, I was thinking about ditching some whips. I don't think I've ever done that. I thought about that for like 90 seconds. That seemed like a brilliant idea. I don't know. I walked away from that idea and thought, what were you thinking? But anything's possible. One of the things that's happened is, with a move, the house is different, and where I thought a piece would work is just not going to work. So, I don't know. We'll see. There's so many possibilities. Who'd ever thought we would be, in our houses for 5 weeks so far, not really allowed to leave New York State. Now it's mandatory. Anywhere you go, you have to have a mask. So if anywhere where you go where you can't be certain that you'll be social 6 feet from somebody, you have to have a mask. So if you're walking down the street, you don't necessarily have to have a mask on, but if you approach like an intersection and waiting to cross the street with people, then you have to have a mask on. Grocery stores and so on around here have gone one step further, and they're making it mandatory to enter the store. So even if you thought to yourself, I can shop for a while and put the mask on as soon as I see there's somebody else in an aisle, that's not the way. So I had made masks. I've been out a couple times and I've worn my mask. I'm not loving the mask thing. So like, who does? Who would and who does? So anyway, that's what we're doing. There's talk about how New York State will be open again and businesses open again, and it's kind of an approach that will have to be slow and methodical, thoughtful. That's the word, slow and thoughtful. I'm not sure how fast I would rush back out to do anything. So 5 weeks, we're still counting. It's going to be a while before anybody's doing what we used to do. Anyway, so stitch away I do. I stitch and stitch some more. And I dug out this whole quandary over what am I going to do for Mania and whatnot. I thought maybe we should visit my whips. I've been kind of pushing through and trying to finish, like pull out anything that I thought was anywhere close to a finish so I could see if I could finish it. And I have been for maybe the last 2 months working a week at a time on different things. And I have finished various things, as I've shown in the last several videos. And now I'm down to crunch time because it's April 20th. So let's just do a quick review. This was a start in December. It was either birthday, Christmas, or New Year's. I can't remember. Was Jack Frost's Tree Farm. I'm doing it all on one. I feel like this was a birthday start. Doing it all on one. Oh, it's nicely wrinkled. And I am down to where I only have one left. One more pattern to go right here. So that'll just take a couple days. Usually I find these take maybe 3 days. I mean, that's in my previous life, 3 days. I don't know now. Depends on how much white snow there is, really. Let me see if we can show you which piece it is. We can review this together. Some of them have a lot less. It's this one, right? Let's open it back up. Yes, this one is the last one. So not a whole lot of snow, and red trucks are fun. So I believe this week I will work on this because then it can be finished. I should show you what I worked on last week. This has been a whip for a couple of years, like 2.5. And I'm talked about struggling along with working on the piece of perforated paper this big that I can't bunch all up. I don't usually work on a frame or anything. I bought the frame, the 4 pieces, and tried that, but that was still hard to hold. I have a floor stand that will clamp down, so I put only the one piece back on, and I really made some serious progress. I mean, I think I have a picture of it before I did all this. I'll put it right here. My needle is in it. I stopped mid-stitch last night. I think from here up, the only thing left are beads. I think there's like one stray blue stitch somewhere I discovered needs filled in. And so I'm starting into these pumpkins down here, and then the big sign's going to take a while. I thought maybe last night I would bead just to feel like I had really made progress. I love to bead. I love the end result of beading. And then it was after supper, and it's starting to get dark, and it's too hard to see all that and do all that. So this is a whip that's really will take, I don't know if it'll take another whole week. But when you figure in the beading, I mean, I'm going to guess it's a solid day or 2 days of beading. It depends on how smoothly it goes. My workstation in this house is different than last. So sometimes I don't know. We'll see how it all goes. But anyway, I would expect to have those 2 done. And this isn't going to be done. This was not anything that I carried over from last year. This is Prairie Schooler's July. Love a Prairie Schooler. It's got a lot of stuff in here. I think the last time I worked on this is when I went to the Midwest cross-stitch retreat in the fall. So it's moving right along. Well, you know, if I actually worked on it, you could claim it moving along. Once I think the big house is done and the grass, I think the rest of it will go, you know, quickly. That's a lot of green grass, right? Right. I'm certainly not going anywhere where fill-in would be a good thing. So we'll see. It's like I said, it'll be either it's a whip. It's gonna be a whip for a while. Whether I do whips during Mania or everything's a new start is yet to be seen. I think it's gonna have to be the end of May before we determine what exactly I did for Mania. This project, I struggled with getting it started just because 40 count is not my jam, and it's on, you know, the biggest piece of fabric ever. It's the Farms of Hawk Run Hollow. I bought this when I went to the very first ever Midwest cross-stitch retreat. I've been twice. I went to the very first one, which is where I started the Mill Hill October truck one. And I knew I wanted to do just one of the Hawk Run Hollows. And so when we went to Stitchville, I sat on the floor with all of them in front of me. Not all of them, but all the contenders and farms is what I decided best suited my taste. And I had a hard time getting started, and finally got it all. There's the big double size block in the middle. I finally got it all boxed in and got it started a little bit. And then, you know, I don't know. I don't even know how long ago that was. But for Mania last year, I put this whip in, and my goal, before I could check it off as a Mania finish, was to finish this big block, which I did. And then I never touched it again, which is kind of a bummer. I want to do this year for Mania, assuming I do whips. My plan had been to do 2 blocks. So my objective before Mania starts is to stitch the box around. So we will see. We will see, you know, if I'm doing whips, pulling whips into Mania. And if I'm so close to a finish, I might not be able to put it down to get things prepped for Mania. So that's a nice one. It's a long-term project. I'm not feeling bad about that it's taken so long to get as far as I got. I believe I know what's in here. This is the project. I've been pulling this guy out for years. One time when I was working on, I always forget the name of it. Lila Studios, the one with Independence Hall. When I was working on that really intensely for a stretch of time, I just needed a break. So I pulled out this guy, this Still Life. This pattern has quite a story in terms of, like, I just wanted to try something. I wanted to do something. I wanted to grid. So I spent, I don't even know how much time gridding this piece of fabric. Flowers can be fussy because they have so much little stitches here, there, and so I thought the gridding would kind of be something to try. So I gridded the whole thing. The pattern encompasses 2 pages, right? It crosses the line in the middle, crosses a crease in the middle. The crease in the middle and the overlap, you can see where there's a little bit of blue where it overlaps, doesn't adjust the grid. The 10 by 10 grids don't adjust for the repeat. So my 10 by 10 grids only work for half the thing and then not at all. And basically I don't need grids. I've been stitching for 40 years. Found it unnecessary. Have basically almost never really look at those lines unless I'm counting by tens or something. So I don't know. I worked on it. I honestly have not worked on this since last May. I was working on the pot. I don't know why. I really don't, because I really wanted to get the flowers done. Once the flowers were done, I could move on to the parts I really wanted to be stitching, and I haven't touched it. I don't know why. It's such a likable pattern. I love geraniums. There are going to be geraniums out there by the dozens. Always have liked geraniums, have always planted them or put them in pots or in boilers on the front porch or whatever. Here there's a lot of landscape. Somebody was landscape happy in the prior life of this house. And look at how many colors this pattern takes. Like, look at that. That's a lot of DMC to have, like, pulled out of the general inventory. But whatever. When it was easy to get DMC, I don't mind. Now it's like a challenge to get your hands on some DMC colors. I had to mail some to my daughter, who was stitching a Christmas plant. She's a teacher, so she's at home teaching virtually, and so she has been doing some cross stitch pieces. So anyway, you should get those. Oh, this project was a Maynia start last year, and it was trouble from the get-go. Shouldn't have been, but it was. I went around and worked on the border and discovered as I was coming into the last corner that something was wrong in the very, very, very beginning, or the very first corner where I started. Somewhere right in the very first part I miscounted. So I adjusted the border. And then I took it to the Midwest Cross Stitch Retreat as one of my 2 projects to work on, and I screwed up this. Like, I'm listening to Brenda Gervais give her little lecture, and I'm stitching away, and I'm like proud of myself for my double duty, like listening and stitching. Look at me go. I screwed it up. There's supposed to be, let's see, there's supposed to be 2 of these wingdings, each of them with a leaf, and then a pair of leaves down there, and I got my pair of leaves down there and only 1 wingding and a leaf, and so this top part got started too short. So I have been back and forth a little bit about taking it out, not taking it out. I mean, it's whimsical. What the heck? Who cares? Somehow I do. Somehow, so I thought to myself, well, all right, take it out, and then put it back in your Maynia thing, and you'll feel better about just picking up where you left off. But no, I don't. I look at that and how pretty it all came out, and I don't want to take it out. I don't want to. You can't make me. There's some more flowers that go in here to fill in a little bit under the wingding. I don't know. I could put another leaf. I might put another leaf to fill in that. And then I did the cake stand, and I'm ready to start on the cake. This is one, I hate to tell you, that I considered abandoning. I don't think I will, because I like the reds and greens together. But in my last house, the cherries kind of went up with all the stuff up above the kitchen cabinets. And in this house, it's not working out. There's another cherry finish that I'm very fond of that I have not been able to figure out how to work in up in the kitchen. Okay, so what do we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 whips so far. Okay, not bad. Not bad. That's pretty small. What is this? Oh, this is just, I shake my head. I shook my head last year when I introduced this project as a Maynia start. because it's so tiny, it's so little, it's so cute, it's so like styled. Like I would have a crock and it would have flags in it. In fact, I have a crock or a basket with flags in it in the other room. I don't know why. I got it out to start it once and maybe I had a little problem picking out fabric, but I never did anything. It's just bizarre that I can't force myself to work on this little, I mean, it's the cutest thing ever. Look at this little waxing moon crock. I think I have the buttons too. Pretty sure I do. I worked on it at Mania once. That's it. Maybe twice. Got that much done. That's it. No reason. No rhyme or reason. Honestly, there is no rhyme or reason for why this is not done and made into something. So I am pretty confident this is one of the Mania whips that I could, 2019 Mania whip that I could finish. No clue. No idea. So there's 3 I think I could finish. Oh, I forgot one. Oh, darn. We'll pause and come back. I thought I gathered up all the whips, but I can think of it right now. So this was another Mania start from last year. Who doesn't love the Rovaris patterns? It says beach. I don't even know how much I have done. This will be a surprise. Oh, nothing. I really kind of thought maybe I could knock this one out too, but not even. That's the letter A. Well, it'll either come on into Mania with me as a whip or it'll hang out until after Mania is over and I'm buried alive in whips. We will see. So I'm going to stop you and come back. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. Here we go. I'm usually nowhere near this disorganized. Trust me, I'm not. Hey Murph, what you doing? Come up in the chair with me. Come up. This was my last week's project. I showed it in last Friday's video. It was a Mania start last year. I had a place for it in the last house. I don't in this one really. So one of the so this actually is one of the ones I gave some consideration to. If I have a picture here of where it was, I'm not sure I do. I might. I don't think I do. I think I have to describe it. I don't think I had any of this down here done. Some of the middle of her dress wasn't done. I'm sure some of these motifs maybe were started but not done, and I had started the palace, but I hadn't finished it. So I worked on, last Friday's video was Friday. My week cycle ends on Sunday, starts on Monday. So on the weekend I worked on this more. I'm working it with that linen DMC, which maybe most of you have never heard of. I can't say anything positive about it, and I don't know that it's out anymore. It was like a pack of 12 colors, and this only uses 4, so I picked out the 4 that were the closest, and some of them were kind of exact, I think. Anyway, I'm going to run out of this brown, so I'm going to use the regular DMC brown. I will see how that works out. If I hate it. Oh, and plus I was center challenged. Yeah, we talked about that last week. I have another thing I'm not really sure about. See the Roman numeral 18 right there? 18. And then this little E after it. In Paris, I think, in France. That means the 18th arrondissement, which is, like a neighborhood. So I was going to Google, and haven't yet, because I didn't think of it again still today, and see if that's where the palace is. And if it is, that kind of makes, it makes sense. If not, I'm just not positive I want to leave that in there. It's kind of a conundrum. Are there other people that knew that that's what that meant without having to Google it? I knew the Roman numerals. I'm going to tell you that. I knew that. Don't Don't mess with me on that one. I knew that that was 18. I didn't know what the E meant. So I wondered if it meant like 1818, like if it was an easier way of writing that when there's that many letters involved or something. Like, was that the year that this all was represented? I don't know. It's a curiosity. So I Googled it, and that's what it stands for. So, the 18th arrondissement. And, I don't know. So, let's see. So she's like on the back. I don't want to say on the back burner. I like to do Quaker things, and that's really what I'm up to, is mostly all those in the alphabet. So we'll see. I don't give up that easily, but I feel like if I put her on the back burner, she might never come out again. So let's look. Let's do a count again. A head count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excuse me, 8. I have 8 whips. Not counting the heaven and earth design I have totally neglected for a couple years. Excuse me. I'm not saying that won't come back out. So I have 8. There's really no reason why I won't finish 3. So 5. That takes me down to 5. So that gives me room for 15 new starts. That's a lot. That might be all doable. Next time we meet, we will go through the overflowing basket of projects that are in contention for Mania. And I had several things pulled out that I was going to start in the last few weeks just because. And I keep regaining control of myself and not doing them. One of them being Kringles from Little House, right? Love that thing. If I don't, here's the thing. Okay, here's my brain hard at work, right? If I start something, if I don't do whips in Mania, if I just do like 20 new starts, I could start some things in April. And then that helps wean down my pile of I don't know how many. I also pulled out the pattern and was picking floss and have ordered floss for another project I have never shown that I was going to start. I have a serger. I serged the edges of a piece of fabric for another project. It's not even in contention in my basket of, that's being stuck home like this. I can't, it's like alls I have to focus on are the sewing and that kind of stuff. So everything's all willy-nilly crazy. So we'll see. I don't think I'm the only one who's lost all semblance of normalcy in my stitching as well as in life in general. I gotta look, I hear the cat again. What you doing, Murph? I don't know where he is. Anyway, we will hope for the best on this coronacation coming to a slow close. But again, I'm thinking about the things that I have on my calendar, like my Quilt Guild meetings. I really don't know that I would attend. Even if they said, throw open your doors, everybody go do whatever you want. I really don't know what I would do. I don't think I'm alone in that feeling. So hopefully everybody else is staying safe and comfortable and not too stressed over whatever the circumstances are for you. I'm trying to move out of the glare. How did I get out of it before that I'm back in it now? So hang in there. I saw in the news this morning that the governor here in New York said it's okay to get married via Zoom. The officiate doesn't need to be right there in the presence. I thought that was interesting. I thought that was really interesting. I don't know how you sign all the things, and, I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do that don't mean you have to have a wedding on Zoom, right? You could go stand with very far apart in our town hall where you maybe would go to get married in the court in the court by the judge, you could be in the town hall part where there's glass between, the clerks and the public. I just thought that was interesting. So anyway, everybody have a great week, and we will talk again soon. Bye.